behalf of the Public Library of Mount Vernon and Knox County. I'm Jamie Lynn Smith-Fletcher. I'm the Development and Writing Program Manager, and we are very excited to welcome Dr. Clara Roman-Odio, who is here with us today because of the generosity of the National Endowment for the Arts Big Read program. Clara?
Well, thank you very much, Jamie, for inviting me to share with you the experience of Latinos in rural America. This is a public humanities exhibition that was done with my students during 2015-2016 academic year. And really the purpose of the exhibit was and continues to be to broaden the understanding, engagement with knowledge about Latinos in Ohio. We join on visits and conversations with the members of the community. We wanted to highlight challenges and opportunities and rewards of Latinos as they conducted daily life. And we did some research. The process of this research was very interesting because we wanted to collect information from a range of experiences and cultural backgrounds. And so we have some videos of these interviews. The exhibit in itself comprises three main elements. The first one are these 10 panels. These are bilingual panels that basically represent the main themes that we gather as we transcribed, translated, and analyzed these interviews. And these themes include values, family values, dreams and aspirations. We identify something that we call circular journeys, how Latinos go back and forth, cross borders, to negotiate cultural differences, intercultural identities, how much they value bilingualism. We also identify the topic that we call visibility and invisibility. And that has to do with the fact that sometimes Latinos feel hypervisible due to status or cultural difference, and some sense of invisibility in the degree to which they have not complete control of their situations. We also identify that something that we call a sense of place and displacement. How do you negotiate those two spaces? We also talk about income and education in Knox County and the level of employment, income, education, and those tensions. In reality, Latinos are a large population in Ohio and in the United States, and they in a way are everywhere. We interview college professors, agricultural workers, workers in the business sector, athletes, youth of various ages, and we found a great diversity of experience. So the video component offers a direct view of their experiences as they tell how they go about their lives in their routines and with the community. And the third piece of the exhibit allows for the public to interact with the material. So we offer attendees a little survey so that they can speak about their experience after completing this journey. So again, the panels are bilingual. If you go to the front side, sometimes you'll find English, and in the reverse side, you find Spanish. And it was really a pleasure to do this. I have to say that creating this project was an adventure. We did it with students, actually, in one of my classes. It combined two important pedagogies. One is the idea of the public humanities and the public intellectual. What is that? Well, it is using the resources of the university to expand knowledge and to offer that content to the community, but also drawing in the community, bringing them in to tell us how is life in your place. So that was one approach. The other was community engaged learning. This is a methodology that have been used at Kenyon, where I taught for 30 years. And the idea is to bring the student into the community, use the resources, engage with the community, to engage talents, content, and to really gain in the flesh knowledge that sometimes doesn't happen quite effectively when it's just driven by research and books. So we use the community engaged learning approach, and this is the outcome. So I will be delighted to answer any questions that you may have.
So one of the, I think, for me personally, the coolest things about this particular project is that these interviews were conducted with Latinos living in Knox County. And, you know, as someone who straddles worlds, right, like I'm from here, but I moved away for a while, I went to Kenyon, but I'm also a local, you know, that has a lot of, it had a great deal of meaning for me to be able to see and learn even more, right, about people that are my neighbors and that are part of our community and are such an important part of everything from our cultures to our economies. So I was wondering, like, and maybe I could invite you to talk a little bit about what motivated you to do this here.
Well, that's a very interesting and good question. I am here because I have been a professor at Kenyon College for 30 years. I just recently retired. But I consider myself a border crosser. I came here to the States as a young woman to do a PhD, and so I was born and raised in Puerto Rico in a provincial town, and came here to study, and very interested in world literature, in comparative literature, and that's what I did. So I ended up teaching in rural Ohio, in Knox County. So crossing borders in language, in cultures, I wanted students to understand what is the idea of being a border crosser, because that is a term that is very charged in the news at that point more. And I wanted them to see what it means, and we engage in this project to find out where are the Latinos. Actually, one important person I remember asked me, so where are the Latinos in Knox County? And I wanted to answer that question, and I invited the students to research about that. Who are the Latinos in Knox County? Where are they? What do they do? And the outcomes were surprising because we found a depth and a breadth that we didn't know before. We didn't know that Latinos are changing the economy in a way and sustain a big part of the economy in Ohio in more than one way. Right. Not only through academia, but also through agriculture and through other type of jobs. So it came as a personal desire. It also came from a question that was raised from a member of Knox County, and where are the Latinos in Knox County? And it also came from the interest of my students to explore this question in depth.
Sure. And I think too, there's like what I see emerging perhaps more recently, because I know this was in 2015, and that's just a few years ago. I mean, you know, the twinkling of an eye, right? But we also see like an entrepreneurial class, right? There's so many businesses that are Latino owned, and I mean, across all sorts, whether it is food, whether it's construction, or, you know, internet, like digital services. I mean, there are all of these things that are happening here that I think are very exciting, and I love the way that this invites us to explore it. Would you consider a reprise or a redux of this? Like, would you like to come in 10 years maybe?
Well, the library, this actually was the first home of this exhibit, and this library and Mr. Chidester and the entire personnel have been exceedingly generous with me. We ran here a program for a college preparation program for students who wanted to prepare better for the college board tests, and to offer those opportunities in addition to what they have in school. So, and the library, this library in particular, have been incredibly supportive of every single project that I have discussed with Mr. Chidester and the personnel. And so when you invited me to bring it, I was full of joy. And I am now delighted to learn that now LiRA is part of the collection of this library that I love so much.
Well, I'm very glad that you brought this up, because that is the last of the big announcements that I had, which is that now LiRA is part of our permanent collection through Dr. Roman-Odio's generosity, and we are so glad to have this very, very important work become part of our holdings here. So thank you so much.
Thank you. It was my pleasure. Thank you.